Welcome back, all you Fabricants and Fleshbags, to the not funny show, Supercast. The Supercast where we talk about all things superhero in pop culture, and that's TV, movies, video games, and of course we talk about news and nerdy speculation, all that good stuff. I am Mo De Poupe, your resident fabricant and comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. Lottie, what's going on, man?
Man, nothing much. Had one hell of a weekend. FSU won, FAMU showed well, so had a good time. But I'm back, sobered up, ready to talk about the news.
But for you nerds out there, he's talking about sports. That's sports where they play games with balls. So he was watching a bunch of sweaty men, you know, roll all over each other trying to grab a hold of balls. So just that's right. In America, that's what's going on because football season upon us. But who cares about that? We're talking about superheroes, and as usual, we got a ton of stuff that's happening in the world of superhero media. So we're just going to do a news rundown here on the Supercast and see if we can make heads or tails about all this stuff that's going down. So, Lottie, we got some Batgirl stuff going on. You know, all that junk going on and with Warner Brothers Discovery and DC. There's been some DC movies have made some date changes. They may have found yeah, yes, what's new? They may have found their Feige. I bet you not Feige, but you know who there is supposed to be their Feige over at DC. There's some rumors that could be confirmed about Fantastic Four coming up at D23. We'll talk about those. This week we got a new update and what the F is Ezra doing. Some more Ezra Miller news. We also have some insiders talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, insiders at DC, what they thought about it. Some talk about the Flash, and since we're talking about Ezra Miller, Flash, and how it's been scoring in its early test screenings, and where could Batman the Cape Crusader eventually end up streaming. So all of that good stuff. We're going to just jump right into it. You ready, Lottie?
I'm ready.
All right, cool. Let's do some quick and easy stuff, and we'll start from the bottom one I talked about. So remember Batman the Cape Crusader? We were really upset about that. Remember, I was just like, I wanted the head of David Zaslav. I want to take his axe and chop his own head off because how dare you not give me the Batman the animated series follow up, the Cape Crusader? But cooler heads prevailed, and he got to keep his head because they're not canceling it. They're just finishing it up, and they're going to shop it to other networks, other streamers. So Lottie, here's something that people maybe never thought would happen, but can you imagine this scenario? You go on to Disney Plus, you start flipping through. You see, X-Men and the Avengers and all that other stuff. And then suddenly you see Batman the Cape Crusader on it. Can you imagine that?
That'll be a fucking embarrassment.
But there's Hulu, apparently Hulu, Peacock, but also Disney. They're bidding to get this Cape Crusader. We could actually see Batman right next to, Spider-Man the animated series and Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes. And you're right. What the hell, DC? Like, what did they think? I know what they're thinking. There's been a lot of rumblings about that they're moving away from, kid friendly and family oriented stuff and all this other things. And there's been talk about how they're trying to go for a more quote mainstream appeal, which I'm like, how the hell is Batman animated not mainstream? But Lottie, if this happens, elaborate. You said embarrassment. What do you mean by that?
Be a fucking embarrassment. Like, To see Batman on Disney would be a fucking. It's like imagine if you saw God of War on the Xbox. That's a fucking embarrassment. Like, because some people would be like, oh, some people probably listen to me saying I'm overreacting. No, it is literally like that. It's Batman. When people hear Batman and the word animated, we think of one of the greatest cartoons of all time. And for it to be on Disney Plus will be a fucking embarrassment. I'm not bleeping out my words. I'm truly not going back on this stance. That will be a fucking embarrassment, and that should not happen.
I
Like
tell you what,
somebody
I
in
totally want it to happen though. I really want it to
yeah,
happen.
I
Just
just
just so Feige and everybody over at Disney can just sort of like just be like, yeah, we got Batman over here too. Like why not? I'd love that.
be a fucking embarrassment. I swear to God. If that happens, I'll just look at like
But it's
uh
definitely not going to be on anything that Warner Brothers Discovery has it. It's going to be somewhere. It could be on Hulu, which is still Disney. By the way, if it ends up on Hulu, it will still end up on Disney Plus because Hulu is really only in America. So everything
yeah,
that's on Hulu ends up going to Disney Plus in other parts of the world. So it would still be on Disney Plus. And by the
yeah.
way, Disney Plus cross pollinates with Hulu now too. You can watch something on Hulu or Disney Plus. So it would still end up over there. And I'm all for it. Like if they're intent on jacking up Warner Brothers Discovery, if they're intent on jacking up DC, at least let us get something good out of it. And this would be a feather in the cap to me for Disney to just be like, well, DC didn't believe in this, but we do, and we're gonna show you, and it's gonna be the best Batman we've seen in a while. I'm putting money on it. I'm gonna put money on it right now. I'm gonna say that this is gonna be the best Batman we've seen in a while. Yes, I know Pattinson and everything, but still, I still think that this is. I'm putting money on that.
This would
So
be an absolute embarrassment. I swear. I
yeah,
swear. I swear, man. It's one of
Mi-
those things that if I see, I'll just it's like, that shaking my head like SMH moment. You just go like,
yeah.
no, you
Well,
no,
Moneybags Mickey's just like he's throwing the cash at the bat. The bat got to
money
roll.
bag Mickey.
Moneybags Mickey guy. Oh man. Well, we gonna see. They're having a bid in the war. We'll let you guys know who ends up getting it. But I'm rooting for Disney. Uh, speaking of DC, well, I don't want. This is actually a DC probably to win, I suppose. So the not win. It will be a win in the sense that whenever this comes out, it's gonna be great. So the Flash, everybody been talking a lot of shit about the Flash because Ezra Miller, but I'd like to remind everyone that the Flash is indeed about a guy that's the Flash and not the dude that's playing him. So all signs are pointing towards the fact that the Flash might actually be good, not just good, but maybe even great. Because apparently the test scores for it are, according to this article, near the Dark Knight trilogy. Like the audience, the people that watch it have been scoring it near the Dark Knight trilogy. Now I know somebody on this podcast isn't that high on the Dark Knight trilogy. So
Most
maybe
overrated
that
movie.
doesn't mean as much to you as you as you say.
Most
But
overrated.
for the rest of us, that have been on the Dark Knight's bandwagon, that's high praise. So maybe it makes sense now that they're just like, we can't get rid of Ezra Miller. 'Cause, I mean, we got all this money on the table. We want to be Moneybags Warner Brothers, so so they can't let him go.
Can I just say, fuck Ezra Miller, man. Like, I,
Well, we're gonna get to
I
that. We're gonna
just
get to that.
fuck him.
We're gonna get to it, but like, I'm so happy to hear this. Like, I mean, I knew they weren't gonna cancel that movie because it's too damn expensive. There's no way they can make that make sense, no matter if they shelve it or whatever. Uh, but I've been really looking forward to this movie and the whole concept and seeing Michael Keaton back and everything. So I'm really happy about this, and it just means that we're definitely going to get this damn movie. Just maybe maybe not. It's not gonna be as much fanfare as it was before. But we're getting it.
Mm-hmm.
So, does this make you feel more positive about this? Are you ready? I mean, are you ready to go see this? That's what I'm trying to say, Lottie.
I'll watch it, but you know how they say I'll watch it, but I don't like it. It's like how do I say it? I know I'm going to enjoy the movie, but back in my mind, I'm just thinking to myself, if I can just pimp slap this guy, it's just like
that might not be the remedy.
It's just like how like I said, I'm happy that the movie's coming out because Ezra Miller is not. He's there's other people who have worked their ass off for this
Hmm.
movie, and they're not that dickhead.
Yeah.
But it's just man, this
And
dude.
yeah, I mean, and look, then that Discovery, they're in a situation right now. Warner Bros. Discovery, they're fucking up left and right. You hear about how that they're trying to save $3 billion and I guess in cash money, but in the process of all this, cleaning house, taking stuff off the streaming services, et cetera, it's kind of made people unsure about them. So they lost market cap, meaning the price of their stock has dropped, like to the tune of $20 billion worth in value. So they're in the process of doing a lot of really like tough love, I guess you could say, and it's not making people particularly happy about it. I was saw that there was this article about how animators or people in animation or whatever, because of all of that, they deleted a bunch of stuff off the service. They aren't trusting them. They people are like, hey, finish your projects and get the hell away from there, and people are maybe not trying to work with them as much anymore. And maybe Zaslav is cool with that because they're not trying to lean hard in animation.
Hmm.
But it's the fact is that they're burning bridges left and right, and so they definitely don't want to be burning a bridge with Andy Muschietti, who directed the It movies, and he's clearly a great director. There's no way you want that guy not on your side. They already lost Christopher Nolan. Of all people, they've already lost Christopher Nolan because of Tenet. So they are just like, they don't want to keep on, losing people, to this. And, they've sort of gotten around that with Matt Reeves. They've locked him down into like a first look deal. I mean, which is smart because the Batman did deliver them a pretty good performance. They're trying to lock some people down, but at the same time pissing other people off. So, this is the
Hmm.
time for them to be like, all right, we're gonna be good. We'll be good to you guys, but shit's messed up over it. As far as I'm concerned, it's fucked up over at Discovery. As much that maybe 5 or 10 years from now, we'd be like, that's the smartest thing they could have done is the shit that they did. But right now, it feels like they are, being ruthless. And here's another thing. I know I'm piling all this stuff on you. I'm gonna pause and let you say some stuff in response. But another thing I want to throw in there is that they are also seemingly cutting out people of color and people of other diverse backgrounds, getting rid of them, and really trying to like homogenize or whatever what HBO and WD Discovery is doing. And this shit is like, for the first time in a long time, and as much as shit DC gets up to, I'm usually just like shaking my head like, man, y'all are just fucking up in terms of executing their vision, right? But I'm actually I'm starting to feel bad. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to give a fuck about any of their content based on the fact that their vision sounds like it's going to suck. It sounds like they're pushing people out that look like you and me. and they're going back to the bad old days. And I'm like, fuck that. Like, why should I be excited about that? So anyway, Lottie, I know that's a lot. Uh, what you got anything to add about that?
I'm gonna wait before I pass judgment, like on that, like in the sense of like, as I heard about them, their firings. At the same time, I'm gonna wait because we'll see who they hire before I start like saying, "Oh, okay, they're just doing this, moving people out of certain positions." Because I've heard of that.
Hmm.
I've heard other companies doing the same thing, and they were saying they were doing this, but then they started hiring black, people of color and women right after. It's just right now it's just more it's just they're in a changing of guard. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
There's some people upset that are like, and rightfully so, because that's just it's just unfortunate. That's how changing of guards go, no matter what. Whatever. I'm gonna just be honest. Some of these people were caught off guard holding the bag, and they should have got the f out of Dodge. When it's just it is like that, man. It's in every media, sport, everything. Whenever there's a new owner that takes over a team, if you're not even if you're a superstar, like look at great example right now. Look at the Utah Jazz. They got a new GM and a new owner. They're literally absolutely annihilating that team. Everybody said Donovan Mitchell was untradeable. Guess what the GM just said on Saturday? Oh yeah, he's definitely available.
Right.
They don't care. You know what I mean? When a new person comes in, they want to break it down, and they want to win or compete with their own thing so they can say I did it.
True
Because
that.
they all have egos. Every single CEO, all these people, they all
Yeah.
have egos. I don't. It's just who they are. They
Yep.
want to say they won with their things. There's very few owners, or I mean, very few CEOs that have taken over a company. That's like, okay, let's kind of keep doing what we're doing, just do it
Yeah.
better. Nah,
Yeah.
most of the time they would just want to break it down to the freaking
I know
foundation.
you're not wrong. I'm just feeling very down on it right now.
Oh yeah, I
But
understand.
that being said, the shit that they got in the pipeline, I'm all for. So you're right. I should just be a little more wait and see with it. We gonna wait and see. But with the Flash, I'm definitely, I love to hear that, and I can't wait to see what they end up doing with it. Since we're talking about the Flash, I suppose we should go ahead and do this week's. The fuck is Ezra Miller doing? Right? This weekend, what the fuck is Ezra Miller doing? Well, Ezra Miller met and their agent went and met with the heads of motion picture division at WB Discovery. These are I suppose I don't know if they're interim or whatever, but uh, I think Toby Emmerich used to be. Now they are, and this was really about. I don't know if you remember, but there was that you know news that he had they had three options of what to do with it. Just can the film completely, recast or whatever, or just try to put it. Not they like can it completely, do a release, but like Ezra Miller does nothing with relate in regards to promoting, or if Ezra Miller sort of does an apology tour and goes to get help and etc. and just kind of does for the next year, kind of gets their act together. Limited promotion. And so apparently, all of this arrests and everything, none of that got Ezra Miller to be like, maybe I should stop. But the possibility of being completely canned did sort of wake them up. So now they went and sat and talked. And apparently, the meeting went very well. It's quote very
Of course it
positive.
did. Of course it
Yeah,
did.
because
Fucking asshole.
when you're in the midst of fucking around, you think you're invincible. But when you start finding out, suddenly you're like, you got your hat in your hand. And you're like, you know what? I need to step away from this so I can go to rehab or mental health or whatever. The tune that we all hear.
Yeah.
Um, First of all, I'm gonna say I'm happy to hear this. As much as people think they know anything about Ezra Miller or whatever, and there's a lot of people throwing around some reckless words and comments, making claims based on things they don't know. There's accusations, etc. At the end of the day, this person is having there is something going on in their head, and they're not making good rational decisions, and they've gotten to the point where they realize that's what's going on. Even if it was just, hey, my money's about to be fucked up, I need to get it together. At least they're going
Yeah.
to actually do something about it. And I'm happy that W Discovery is actually, instead of just making a unilateral decision, have decided again for money. I understand, but they're doing it to give Ezra Miller a chance to sort of get it right. And also, I'm selfish. I want the damn Flash to come out, so I'm happy for that reason. I mean, that's just at the end of the day, that's the truth. I want the Flash to come out, and yeah, Ezra Miller's not my cousin or anything. That's not my brother. Uh, Generally speaking, they can go do whatever they want, but it would be nice if they got their shit together too. So, uh, with all that said, Lottie, what the fuck is Ezra doing? And in this case, is this a good? I mean, I feel like this is a step in the right direction. What do you think?
He recently just got charged, right?
With I mean, what else? What was it? For breaking and entering or
Burglary.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
yeah, that was. Yeah, I think I talked about it when you were out of the country. But yeah,
Ezra Miller. It's just dude's a fucking asshole. And the simple fact that all of a sudden now that he was about to lose his job, he wants to start. I, me being a person of God, I want to believe everybody could change their lives, and so I'm not going to be just as judgmental. But
they make it so
he
hard.
yeah,
They make
man. I mean, you all of a sudden, oh yeah, now I want you. Oh, it's just
well,
what?
well, look, however they got to get there, so they get there. And
Yeah,
that look, other people in Hollywood have done worse things and bounced back. Definitely done worse things. So I think if the Flash is good, everyone will suddenly be like, yeah, we should give Ezra Miller another chance. Even though I'm convinced he will not be the Flash again
yeah,
after all of this. But if they if they can go out on a good note, cool. Um, and again, this is a human being, and they're having something going on with them. I don't. There's no indication that Ezra Miller's an evil person or, you know, just a bad actor or something like that. There's something going on in their lives. So
Ezra Miller. One thing I can say, Ezra Miller is a great actor.
yeah,
They are a great actor. I've never seen anything that I've watched movies that Ezra Miller was in that was bad. It was not because of Ezra Miller. I can tell you that. But they're a fucking asshole in real life. So I mean,
yeah. Well, hopefully they can transcend that. But I'll give WB Discovery this. They are, for whatever reason, they're not listening to people telling them just throw this away. Because I see a lot of people on Twitter like, I'll never watch this. I'm like, okay, fine, don't ever watch it. But $250 million have been spent, and y'all talk real reckless about somebody's $250 million. Like they can just throw that down the drain and it's all good. And damn it, I'm selfish. I want this movie. So let's hope Ezra Miller keeps it together. We got 1 year, so fingers crossed. That's what happens. Uh, so speaking of, let's keep talking about DC. Yeah, I started this off talking about how mad I am about Batgirl. I am still mad about Batgirl. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of people wanting to convince me that it was going to be a terrible movie. I heard that the test screenings for it were about on par with the test screening reception of what was it, Black Adam? But whatever. Some people have seen it said, oh, it's like a CW, a long CW, an expensive CW pilot. Okay, fine. I mean, things could have been fixed in post or extra footage, whatever. They didn't get that. That they did show this last week. They call them funeral screenings. So whatever they had edited and cut together, they showed it to the cast and crew, which I don't know if that's nice or some bullshit. I'm trying to decide in my head which one that is. Is that nice, or is that of them, or that bullshit? Because you get to see what you did, and it's the only time you'll ever see it. And it's not finished. The VFX wasn't finished, so this is a rough cut of essentially a bunch of green screen shit and maybe some animatics or whatever. But it's not really the movie. It's just the most that they can get out of the footage they had. So, I don't know, Ladi, was that nice of them, or was that kind of fucked up of them?
I've seen one of those movies before, right? I've seen I remember, since we're both black, we both know about the bootleg movies. You know what I'm talking about? I saw their X-Men Origins, the first Wolverine. I saw the like non-VSX version. So like Wolverine's claws look so. So I'm just imagining like the.
And that, they had fires, but it was probably like not practical because the Firefly was the bad guy. Brendan Fraser Firefly was the bad guy, so it probably wasn't all unpractical. It was a lot of green screen and goofy looking shit. I mean, but still, I mean, if you were one of the people that helped create this movie, would you rather have seen what you did, or just been like, nah, I don't care?
I'll at least want to see it. I'll at least want to see what I did. Even though it didn't get finished, I would still want to see it. Because, I mean, part of you might be like, fuck that, I don't want to see it. But then if you really just sit back and think about it, why not?
Yeah.
See what even though no one else is going to see it, at least see your creation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least look at that.
Yeah. It was. I mean, that's good that I suppose that they got to see their stuff, but we also found out that the directors, and these are the guys that directed the first and the last episode of Miss Marvel. They they kind of got on Instagram and was talking about they were going to try and go kind of get copies of the footage that they shot, and they were locked out of that. So we're not even going to get a kind of bootleg leak or anything like that of the footage onto the internet, which, I mean, I guess that makes sense, because, I mean, if you're going to shelve a film completely like this, you'd be smart to just lock that down. But it just feels like, again, like Warner Bros. Discovery is like, yeah, as much they have this little nice statement, but words are one thing, but actions are another. And I feel like the actions are, you know what, fuck these creators. Like we don't really care. So I can't imagine that these guys will want to work with them again. If DC wanted to work with them.
Man, DC and Disney have been pissing off a lot of people. Like,
well, at least Disney doesn't piss off. They don't piss off the creators. They piss off the VFX, and they can afford to piss off the VFX people. They can't afford to piss off the creators of the directors and writers and stuff like this. And that's what's going on. You're like, what do you call it? Talent relations. How are you gonna make movies if people don't want to work with you because they know the way you treat people? Which so far we don't actually know how they treat their creators yet, except for this, these little things. And these are, pragmatic business decisions to essentially say, this is, we don't, they make whatever excuse they make, they just decide this isn't for us and we're just going to move on. And also the directors of this, who gives a fuck about them? They aren't big names, right? So it's kind of jacked up to me. But you know what? Those guys, they did a great job with Miss Marvel. So, Kevin Feige he's always got an open dance card, you know, and that's actually you know, we're going to talk about that a little later. We're regarding a Marvel thing. So, but anyway, you know, sucks the Batgirl thing. That just continues to make me mad. So I'm gonna try not to belabor it too much more in the future, since apparently it's all over. Let's keep on DC. Let's keep on like giving DC the business, because I mean, I was real mad when I heard this, because once I read it some more, I kind of calmed down, but I was real mad. So that they pushed Aquaman to next Christmas, and they put not this Christmas, to Christmas 2023, and Shazam 2, which was supposed to come out at the end of the year, they moved it to March 17th of next year. So, like I said, I was just like, all I could think was, man, DC, y'all keep on fucking up. Like, how can y'all keep on not getting it together? But I thought about it some more and looked at it, and I was like, you know what? Okay, fine. Like, you're right. Shazam 2 versus Avatar 2. That's not nice.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not nice.
Yeah, they did. I was just about to say, they did the right thing.
Yeah, Shazam was gonna come out the week before Avatar 2. I'm like,
hell no, hell no.
I love Shazam.
It was gonna get slaughtered.
Yeah, that wasn't a fair. That's not gonna be good. So
Ain't a fair fight.
They gave it some breathing room. So, you know, fair enough. I know. I admit I just want the shit when I want it. But fine. But Aquaman to Christmas of next year. Why the fuck for? And
they must be really trying to get her out of the movie.
Well, I've heard just that their VFX is behind, like that they want, and maybe they are trying to cut Amber Heard out. I contend that's a stupid ass thing to do, because like all these people who are whining and bitching about Amber Heard, most people don't even know what the fuck's going on with Amber Heard. I mean, if they've heard about it, they're just like, okay, but they're not invested. Only people like us are invested in this, and I am super uninvested in it because I don't give a fuck. But there are a lot of people that are online that make a lot of noise. They are a minority, an extreme minority. Most people are just like, cool, a new Aquaman, and they don't care that Amber Heard's in it. So, but if they are doing that, fine. But I've heard it's VFX related. They've got a shit ton to do. And the only other thing I think about this is like, congratulations, DC. Once again, Marvel's beating you to something you introduced first. Am I right? They introduced the multiverse shit in Batman v Superman, right?
Yeah.
And guess who's done multiverse twice before they could get their Flash multiverse thing out? Twice. They've done 2 movies within like a year of each other. Right, and if they keep fucking around, they might end up with what the Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania is going to come out before the Flash comes out. That's 3 things that are multiverse related, not even counting Loki. So that's one. Number 2, they're going to beat them to the punch with like what? Well, I guess not to the punch, but they're going to bring out Namor is going to come out. So they're going to bring out Namor a year in advance of Aquaman 2. And let's just call it like it is. The first Aquaman was essentially, well, what if Wakanda was underwater? Tell me I'm lying about that. I literally watched that movie and I was like, oh, it's underwater Wakanda. Cool, right? Mm-hmm. And so now they got underwater Wakanda literally going against regular Wakanda in the new Black Panther that's coming out in November. So they're going to bring out Namor a year in advance of Aquaman 2. And I'm just saying, like, what are y'all doing? But I'd rather they get their, if the shit's fucked up as far as the VFX, I'd rather they get their shit together rather than just kind of rush it out.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've said much. Ladi, they've made these moves. Good idea, bad idea. What does it make? How does it make you feel?
I mean, I'm sort of like at the point with with DC. Just release, just whenever it's ready, release it. You
Hmm.
know, You- it don't you don't have to be you don't have to do what Marvel's doing. Release what you can when you have the opportunity, and hurry up and give me my Man is Steel too. Damn it! That's all I want.
Yeah. I've been hearing like Henry Cavill. I've already heard that Henry Cavill's like, I'm good on this. I've also heard that he shows up for, I've heard he shows up for Aquaman 2. That may be part of why they need to, do some more changes. I've also
If
heard, since we're talking about people showing up, I've also heard Gal Gadot shows up in Flash, not Flash, Shazam 2, like in a significant cameo. Could could be, especially since they're dealing with Greek gods. So we'll see about the whole thing. But
I hope they
I
don't nerf her again, because
yeah,
man, they've been nerfing her in the last couple of
I mean, to
movies.
be fair, Shazam is magical Superman, so he theoretically should be able to beat her ass. I'm just saying, and they're fighting other gods too, but we'll see. Um, but also Henry Cavill is rumored to be in talks. You know, he and his people are in talks with Marvel, so Kevin Feige may just be able to poach him, and then I'm just gonna laugh because you know DC's they're worried about putting two movies out. Feige's just like two movies. That's not even a quarter of my year. You know what I'm saying? So we shall see. Well, those things got pushed. We'll hopefully they'll stay put this time. Let's keep. We got so much DC shit. I didn't realize that. It's time for Ladi. Are you ready to dunk on some Snyder stands? Yeah, we haven't done it in a while. You want to dunk on them real quick? Uh, I had heard this before, but there's another article that's saying that WB insiders, DC insiders, are saying that the company regrets that they ever put out Zack Snyder's Justice League, and to the surprise of zero people that aren't super invested in the Snyder cut and the Snyder stands and whatever, because surprise, surprise, why when they gave the whining babies. I know I'm done. I'm being really really hard on them. They gave the whining ass Snyder stands what they wanted. They gave the mouse the cookie, so to speak. And then we're like, why the fuck do y'all want the Snyderverse now? Because you bitches, y'all sat there and let these motherfuckers whine for years. You gave in, and now they're just like, all right, since y'all did that, do the rest of it, or else you're trash, and we're gonna just continue to have this campaign. And I'm just like, what did y'all expect? And they don't.
The
I don't
thing
think
that
they get
just
it. Yeah, I don't think they got anything out of it anyway.
the thing that just surprises me is literally like I'm I've listened to some like people who are fans of Zack Snyder's, and I just listened to them talk about I won't say they're Snyder fans, but they just really like the Snyderverse, and I've listened to them talk about uh the movie, and I'm just saying to myself, like, what about that movie was so entertaining? Like, I don't know if I want to believe them. Like, that movie, I watched the same movie. And literally, man, if you weren't there for me to bounce jokes off of you, I would have fell asleep in that movie. Like, that movie was 4 hours of nonsense, and probably one of the greatest scenes I've ever seen in a movie of all time was the Flash running back time with his feet, which I have to admit, that is one of the best scenes I've ever seen in a superhero film. But for me to sit for an hour and 45 minutes, I mean 3 hours and 45 minutes for that is not worth it. That's why I've only seen the movie once, and I never want to see it again.
Right.
Like, it's I mean, the movie was just weird. There was a lot of uncomfortable scenes that I know that the actors were just like, "Why are we doing this?" I'm just like,
It'll make sense in post. Trust. So
it's just like, let's just here's Aquaman's jacket. Sniff on it for like 1 minute. What the fuck? It's like anybody who has not seen the movie, I'm not lying. There's literally a scene where Aquaman takes off his shirt and a little girl in a village picks it up and sniffs on it for a minute. I'm not over exaggerating. And I'm just sitting there going like, what the hell? What am I watching?
it's she wanted the old. She likes his Old Spice.
It's just like that's what it
Body
felt like a
wash.
whole. And then she started singing
Yeah.
for like 5 minutes. Just like,
The Old Spice body wash. That's what it does.
oh
For you.
my god! It's just I've never watched a superhero movie that just I just literally was just sitting there going like that movie. Like I agree, they had to cut some of that shit out. I don't agree that like the thing that I don't understand how the fuck did Josh Whedon think the Flash scene need to be cut out? I agree that scene should not have been cut out. Everything else, hell yeah, need to go. Get
Yeah.
that shit out of
Well,
here.
I think the main thing here is that in retrospect, they're just like, we shouldn't have done that. Like, no shit, motherfucker. Like, anyone could have told you that. You don't give in to the bratty kids that are throwing a fit on the floor. Don't do that. But you know what? That being said, I've also heard that the Snyderverse is dead, and they're just trying to salvage what's good out of it, which I think is what DC has been doing since Justice League came out anyway, to lesser, to good and bad results. So, so anyway, this is this week's dunk on Snyder stands. Um, hopefully they'll not spend the next 6 years trying to restore the Snyderverse, which I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. Who wants to spend the money on something that's already sort of failed to do anything? So, last bit of DC news, real quick. DC may have found they may have found their Kevin Feige, by the man by the name of Dan Lin, who was a former Warner Brothers executive back in the day. If his credentials, the one thing I think that you should care about here is that he was he was a producer, executive producer. He was it the Lego movies, uh, Batman, Lego Movie 1 and 2. He got those made, among other things. So he does have a pedigree of working with, franchise shit. And they're saying like, oh, Alan Horn, who's kind of advising right now, he used to work for him, so he likes the guy. Other people like, yeah, he's good, and so he might be the guy. Which I'm gonna say I don't know shit about the guy except that it sounds to me like he has formerly like he's had his own production house and everything. So at the very least, the man's got some kind of skill with talent, you know, you know, talent acquisition, and also really keeping them happy. Which is Kevin Feige sort of that's it. That's one of his fortes. He works well with producers and directors and writers, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe this is a step in the right direction if this ends up being the guy. Ladi, I don't expect you to know who this guy is. I barely know who the hell this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you, he's got on his producer's credit and also with his production house, he has some stuff. He worked at Warner Brothers and he's made some good stuff. So they may have their Kevin Feige. Is it time to celebrate?
I mean, I hope so. I would love for it. I mean, I would love for them to have a Kevin Feige. I mean, we'll see. Like, it's more of like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh yeah, Kevin Feige, they got their own thing. I just hope that this guy is the person that DC needed to finally get their shit together when it comes to their movies. But we'll see. Like I hope so.
Yeah, he's. I mean, it's nice to. Like I said, he's got the Lego movies under his as a producer. I think he did like the Sherlock Holmes movies.
Hmm.
I think he's previously worked. He's previously worked with Disney. I mean, this guy, he's got some. I'm not gonna lie, he's got some shit. He's an executive producer on Godzilla vs. I'm not saying he necessarily did anything, but he also was a producer on the It Chapter 1 and 2. So the he's got some shit. Like, I have to be honest. I'm like, well, this is promising. At least he seems to know what the fuck he's doing, and I'll
Hmm.
take that. um, I'll take that because right now DC needs that so fucking hard. They need someone who just. I'm not saying. Look, can he channel a quarter of Kevin Feige? If he can, that's enough to get DC moving, and I'll take that. So
Yeah.
here's hoping. We really hope, and we're gonna keep an eye on that. So the last bit of news. I wanted to say this for last because, you know, we can not talk about Marvel. So Marvel apparently has got potentially a D23 coming up later this in September. Are going to be dropping some bombs, and one of the bombs they could be talking about is Fantastic Four, and in particular, there's a rumor, and my rumor, I don't mean like some random site, but like Variety, an actual Hollywood trade that normally, if they say something, it's probably real. And so they're saying that Matt Shakman is in talks and negotiations with Marvel to direct Fantastic Four. Um, why should you care about this? Oh, and I guess before we talk about it, that's actually the big news. But also, an actor by the name of Penn Badgley, there is rumors that he is in talks to be Mr. Fantastic. Now, if you look the guy up, um, you'll see. I mean, you'll see like looks wise could be Mr. Fantastic. Why not? He's a white dude with a beard, and he's nominally maybe in his late 30s or early 40s, whatever. They could silver him up, all that stuff. But also his claim to fame, at least for me, is he's on this show called You on Netflix, in which he plays a psychopath who you know kills people, but also he's obsessed with this one woman. And Jennifer watched it; she really likes it. So forth. He's a good actor, so I mean, just by looks alone, yes, he could do it. But I also think he's a good actor. He could. If this is true, I wouldn't be surprised, and I'll be cool with it. It's no, not John Krasinski. It's fine. He doesn't. John Krasinski can go do other things. I mean, Ladi, you see the picture of the guy. What do you think?
I mean, I'm one of those people that is like, I gotta see him in action.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna be honest. When I first heard that Captain America was Chris Evans, I was like, no. Now I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? It's just like that's why I don't even like try to even make a comment about it until I see it in action.
Right.
I said the same thing. You remember when we first did the Supercast. When I told you that I didn't want Robert Pattinson as Batman, now I'm like, give me more. So I'm just like, no, I'm a wait.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, the guy's good. Uh, I I would like to have them to have gone a little more out of the box with casting. There's a guy named Rahul Kohli who he's I believe I want to say he's Indian, but he's he's a great actor, and he looks like what if what if Reed Richards were Indian American essentially. He's got that look to him. There's several other people who could have done it, but this guy that's cool too, and also it saves us all of that bullshit from people bitching about race swapping. So I'd be down with this if he's Mr. Fantastic. So anyway, that said, let's talk about the real story here. Matt Shakman directed all of the episodes of WandaVision, right? And I got to listen to him. He talked to Kevin Smith and Mark Bernard on the Fat Man Beyond podcast back when WandaVision had ended, and he's a former child actor in the '80s. I want to say he's close. He's a little bit older than me, but he's a former child actor in the '80s, and transitioned into directing. He's directed a bunch of things. I mean, his directing credits are extensive over the last 20 years, and I will say, WandaVision's great, and his directing was part of the reason why. And also, he had recently signed on to be the director of Star Trek 4, the new one they're trying to get together. So, clearly people think he's got some skill and some vision, and he's already delivered something great for Marvel. You know how Marvel likes to reward people who've already done good work for them with more work. So, all this sort of came up. Now, what adds to the possibility that this is true is that he just left the Star Trek project, which was supposed to, I think, was supposed to start filming next year. It's supposed to start filming next year, so it's looking likely that he's going to be the Fantastic Four director. Now, Ladi, I said a whole bunch of things. You remember WandaVision. I'm not saying you know a ton of this guy's other work, but you know WandaVision. And so, does this excite you about him being the Fantastic Four director?
Yeah. Just don't do because the Fantastic Four are. I just don't want the little pew 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 type ending in the Fantastic Four. Well, actually, who do you think will be? Do you think they're going to just introduce Doctor Doom in the movie? Because I kind of want Fantastic Four to be an intellectual movie in the sense of like I know the Thing is pretty much Hulk with it's like a weaker Hulk with like rock skin, but the Fantastic Four like they team up. Like Reed Richards is like this tactician that comes up with plans and everything. I don't want it to. I want it to be more of like a cool teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work type movie. You know what I mean? Instead of like the typical like MCU type movie. Like it would be really good if I was this guy. I will give him the advice. My advice to him is for him to watch the original Avengers movie. That's how I kind of want the Fantastic Four to be, sort of like as a
Right.
movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think one thing is he can handle like a family dynamic. He literally did it in WandaVision, but
Yeah.
also, like I said, the guy has extensive, but mostly it's TV. He's basically been directing on TV, a lot of TV over the years. He also directed 3 episodes of Game of Thrones. I believe he directed the episode. Yeah, well, see, he said 2, Eastwatch and Spoils of War. I think those are related to the Blackwater, the battle they had on the Blackwater. So he's got some some chops, and enough so that Paramount was going to pay him to be the director of a Star Trek movie. So I think this is great. I love the fact that Marvel, they are, like I said, they reward people that do good work with more work, right? But it's not just rewarding them with more work; it's rewarding them with the step up, right? He directed a whole TV show, all of WandaVision, and they said, you know what? How about you do a movie for us? Not just any movie, but you do a super important movie. Let's not kid ourselves. Fantastic Four is extremely important, right? I would say
Mm.
it's probably one of their more, because it's one of their more important ones, because it's going to be the first time they introduce Fox characters into the MCU proper, right?
Hmm.
And so this isn't like they're not throwing this at someone and saying, oh, it's not, don't worry too much about it. It's not a huge marquee. No, it's important. This is a very important one. It's a very important story. In fact, it's the first. I do believe it's going to be uh, the first movie in Phase 6. If I'm remembering the phases correctly. And so, the fact that they have that kind of confidence in Matt Shakman really kind of underscores to me that this guy's got something, and I think he's going to bring something, a unique vision, but also he's super experienced. So I'm very optimistic about this, and I'm just happy that they're making any damn progress on this, and I hope that they absolutely at D23 will just tell us everything we need to know about this, because man, we have been jumping up and down about this since they bought Fox. So it's about time.
Yep.
Let's go. I want to see Galactus in the MCU, damn it. I want to see Doctor Doom done correctly. Y'all have had 3 chances to get him right. Better not fuck it up, Shakman. Even though I'm pretty sure he's not going to write it. But still, y'all better not fuck it up, Shakman. Let's get it right. Like, they should be the easiest thing. You literally they've made, The Incredibles. How come Marvel can't get it right? That's my question. So, anyway, I'm happy about it. So hopefully we'll hear about this, like I said, towards the end of September. We'll let you guys know. And that is everything we had to talk about today, man. That's I feel like for a small news week, we sure had a lot to talk about. But maybe we didn't cover everything that you guys thought we should have. Or maybe you just had something to say about what we were talking about. Just get down to the comment section. Let us know what you had to say. And, of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. And while you are in the clicking mood, do us a solid. Get down there, hit that subscribe button, join the Super Not Funny Show family. Hit that notification bell to let you know when we drop new content. We got reviews and, of course, this podcast coming out every single week. And also, do your boys a favor by going and hitting that like button. Help us out on the algorithm. That would be cool. And, of course, I can't do this by myself. Ladi comes in the clutch and it lets us know all about the superhero stuff. So, Ladi, can you let them know where they can reach you on your socials?
Well, you can always find me on my Instagram and my YouTube. My Instagram is Anukinihu, and it's ANUKINIHUN. Again, it's ANUKINIHUN. And of course, my YouTube channel, which is Kinihun25. You can hit me up. I have a few, I'm going to start uploading content again. Been taking a little bit of a break, but I'm going to be back up to uploading content. So whenever you get a chance, stop by, leave a like, a comment, or you can subscribe and follow me.
Yeah, you guys go over there, show Ladi some love, like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. All right, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, thanks for joining us. This was the 66th episode of the Supercast. Come back next week. We got plenty more to talk about, because superheroes, they never sleep. They keep on keeping on, They're out there saving the day, and we're going to talk about all of it. Until then, I've been Mole Poupée, your resident fabricant and commentator extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. We'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.